United won away from home in Europe. Get in. Can I please forget the first 60 minutes of that game that I just watched? United were turgid, and that's me being polite. Ruben Amorim completely changed that game with the subs. When Mason Mount came on, Garnacho came on towards the end, but it was mainly Mount and Hojlund. And I'll tell you what, Anthony had an impact on that game. How crap were United for the first 60 minutes? It was painful to watch. You saw a frustrated Amorim on the sideline. And before that game was the first time so far as United manager that Amorim has said, yeah, well, we need the result, but we also need the performance. And the performance was not there. All right, I will speak about Hojlund. I will speak about Bruno. In fact, I'm going to speak about that first because Amad was by far and away United's best player. Or am I going to say that after Hojlund scored two? I mean, technically the goals make the difference, but Amad has easily been the best player under Amorim. Whether that's playing right wing back, whether that's playing as a right side in number 10, he is a difference maker. And again, he was the difference maker. I thought it was going to get that frustrating there when his ball to Mason Mount and Mount missed. But ultimately, Hojlund came up with the goods. I'm not sure if you did it, but when I was sitting there watching the free kick, I was like, there's loads of room for Hojlund there. Boom. He passed it straight to him. It wasn't an easy ball to control either. Turn and a great finish from Hojlund. I am so convinced that Hojlund can be a clinical striker for this football club. Do I think he's enough in isolation? No, I don't think any striker in the world is enough in isolation. And we'll speak about Joshua Zirkzee a little bit later. But Hojlund came off the bench and the game changed. Amorim, to his credit, used those subs. And Gary Neville's going to be annoyed because he made another 5 subs in game. Those subs switched the tempo. And that's what I need to focus on, I'll be honest, for probably the majority of this match reaction. All right, I thought that was going to be a frustrating one. But ultimately, Hojlund came up with the goods. But ladies and gents, right, effectively what the start of the Amorim era is, unfortunately, is an experiment in real time. He's learning about this squad. 5 changes, 6 changes, and between starting 11s and in-game 5 changes. I think every single game so far. He's doing it to manage fitness, but he's also doing it to learn and understand about this squad. And he learned and understood a lot tonight. So many of these players are just shit. So many of these players. The issue in the first half, first 60 minutes, all right? VIKTORIA PLZEN sat in a deep 5-4-1. United weren't playing it quick enough to break the lines. Zirkzee, Rashford, and even Amad in the first half, really, nobody was doing enough. But Zirkzee and Rashford in particular, the ball was just bouncing off them. I hate it when Rashford faces the goal, faces his own goal with the ball. He's a runner in behind, but United weren't doing that. And the lack of tempo in that first 60 minutes made it easy for VIKTORIA PLZEN to sit in shape. Now, that lack of tempo is partly because, A, the players are crap, and B, because it's going to take time to build up that intensity. But I think that Amorim was expecting that tonight. And that's why he said, well, tonight's not just about the result. We need to see a good performance from the team. And he did not see a good performance until he changed the game with those subs. And probably what you saw there towards the end of the game is most likely to be more like what you might see towards the start of the game against City. Hojlund starting that game. United did look better with Garnacho on the pitch, but everything really, in my opinion, not everything, overwhelming majority, came through this man. Amad. Does that mean he's got to start as the right-sided attacking midfielder against City to give us more creativity in the final third? You'd probably argue that was the case. Because without him there tonight, I'm not sure United would have created much at all. Of course, Bruno was the creator with that pass, but I'm going back to it again. Hojlund with those finishes. Being there, right place, right time, kind of like it was at the weekend against Forest, the Garnacho deflection. He's there to sweep it in. Same thing with that Amad drip, man. That little touch from Amad. Oh, filth. But Hojlund there, right place, right time to finish. And as I said, I'm going back to this now. Just so much of this squad, you look at it and go, what are you doing? And tonight, my God, the individual errors that we have seen in these last 2 games are sort of like head loss errors. Why Onana is passing that to De Ligt? When De Ligt's on the back foot, he's moving backwards, and there's 3 players. That's a bit like, I don't want to say it because I don't want to think about it, but De Gea to Maguire against Seville. Or Sevilla, sorry. You know, when he was just surrounded by players, his weight was on the back foot. It just was not the right time to pass to him. And that is not the right time to pass to him either. a really awful decision and led to a goal. And Onana, and this is the annoying thing about it, Onana's been very good this season, and then all of a sudden has just been awful in these last 2 games. Just the ridiculous individual errors. And it doesn't matter how good a team is. You can't build on top of those individual errors. Now, the good thing is those individual errors, United's first 60 minutes of turgid football, didn't stop the result because Rasmus came off the bench and scored 2. But Amorim largely is going to be pissed after that game. And more lessons are being learned about this squad, and I just do not think they have the quality to play it. And I tell you what, look, Marcus Rashford just looks like a lost individual. I question whether he will have the fight required to swim through what he needs to get back in good favour at United. The confidence is low. I didn't really understand why he was dropping so deep and playing with his back to goal. I wanted to see Rashford in behind, and that probably was part of the instructions from Amorim. But Amorim, when it comes to the best qualities of Garnacho and the best qualities of Rashford, in my opinion, both rely on those players being out wide near the touchline and then having space to run at a player. Whereas the 2 inside forwards in an Amorim system behind the striker, he wants them to be more central, to tuck inside, and for the wing-backs to go on the overlap. And it's kind of the opposite of, it's like the strengths of Rashford's game, I don't think blend the strengths of an Amorim system. And that's why I was concerned about Garnacho, and the same concerns exist about Rashford. I'm not sure what's going to happen with him, but again, he was taken off after 55th minute. I mean, he could have taken anybody in that attack off, I'll be honest. But Rashford was rightly taken off. And Hojlund came off the bench and made a difference, right? That really was like, the first 60 minutes was like a peak European away game. The opposition sitting deep, haven't lost in 21 games in Europe, sitting deep in a back 5, 4 in front, 1 big striker, lump balls up, you can't break it down, you're not passing it quick enough, and it just felt like frustration central. The man who cut that open, the first slice, that was by Amad. But the man who made the difference was Hojlund with those 2 goals, and he deserves some real praise and some real credit tonight. And in my opinion, so does Amorim for those changes. Every game so far, he switched his 11 and he switched in game. He's learning about this squad. Big old lesson learned there tonight. So many of these are not fit for purpose for the system that he wants. I don't think they're good enough or confident enough, both of those 2 things, to play his football that he wants to see at the pace that's required and the intensity that's required for it to be a success. But ultimately, it's 3 points away from home in Europe. It's a good result, but I think that was a night where Amorim wanted to see a performance, and he didn't get it.